Okay, so one thing, what do you guys notice? So your cheese will probably look like this. What do you guys notice about these two things?
They're not even.
They're uneven, but they look pretty similar, right? Mm-hmm. So every year I have at least 2 pairs that use this as their cheese. This is margarine, and then this is the margarine. So please make sure that you can smell it. Okay, this smells like cheese. The margarine is soft and it's kind of greasy. So you have to make sure that you use the cheese on the top of the pizza and the margarine when we're making the crust. Please don't screw this up, okay? It happens. All right, so the equipment you need, everything is written there for you, so I don't need to go through it. What you're going to do is pull it out of your drawers, get it ready before the bell so that you're ready to go when the bell goes. So you can fill in your bash chat. You have a question, Michael?
What's the cooking principle?
Oh, the cooking principle. Today we're learning the biscuit method or the pastry method. So BISCUIT. Biscuit or pastry method. And the crust that we're making is not a typical yeast pizza dough because that takes too much time to rise and everything. So we're making a quick biscuit crust. So you're learning the biscuit method, which is the pastry method. And the pastry method is what you use for all kinds of pastries. So when you get into really fancy baking. So first things first, you need your books away, your apron on, your sleeves rolled up, your hair is tied, your chair is tucked in, your hands are washed, your equipment is out, and you have the towels. So books, apron, sleeves, hair, chair, hands, equipment, towels. You're going to place the oven racks on levels 2 and 4. So everybody's working in pairs. So Franklin, Chris, I need you to move a little bit. Chris. So I can just open the oven here. So we're going to open the oven, and there's 5. We want to make sure it's on 2 and on 4, which it is. We're going to cook the pizzas staggered like this so that they cook evenly like we did with the apple crisp. So I'm going to preheat the oven to 425 degrees. 425. So you press bake. You adjust the temperature. And then I'm going to push start to preheat the oven. So 425 degrees. Okay. Well, careful.
Good.
All right. Then what I'm going to do, so partner 1 is going to sift, then measure the flour. So remember, you sift it where? What do you sift it onto?
On a plate.
On a plate. So I'm going to take, so I saw people last day just scooping it and pouring it into the bowl like this and sifting it. So first we put it here. Remember, we sift it onto a plate, and sifting, what does it do? It adds air.
Yeah. And removes the lumps.
It removes all the lumps. Excellent. So what we're going to do is spoon it lightly into the measure. So sift it, then measure the flour. So that is step 3. Sift, then measure flour. So I'm scooping it in 250 mils. Leveling it off with a metal spatula. And then what I do, can you guys see in the mirror? Can you see, Anne, still? Okay. Then what I'm going to do is you want to put your sifter in the bowl like this. So you're double sifting it. Then I'm going to, step 4, sift together the dry ingredients. So I'm sifting the flour, and then I'm adding the baking powder. So 5 mils of baking powder.
I didn't know that you had to sift the dry measures. I didn't know that you had to sift.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So first you sift the flour, then you're sifting them all together in the bowl. So then we measure it. So I need 5 mils. So I need 5 mils for my small measure. I'll do it to the video so you can see. So level it off, 5 mils, so measure that. So once you're pouring things into the bowl, that's when you're measuring it. On the plate, you're not measuring it. So just the flour goes on the plate. All the other ingredients go in the bowl. So flour, baking powder, and then salt. How much salt do we need? So what am I going to use?
The one,
The 1 and
two.
the 2. And that'll make 3. So scoop it in here. I just level it off.
I thought you had to use the spatula.
Well, not for the salt because it kind of levels itself and it's really small. So I just do it like that. Then what we need to do is we need to put the lid back on the container because we're done with it for the next pair to use it and share. You don't need to show me doing that.
Okay.
Frank. Just stay up here.
Sure.
Okay. So we've sifted together all of the dry ingredients. Look at that. Ooh, beautiful. Okay.
To a what bowl?
Is it a medium
Large.
or
Medium.
Into a large bowl.
large?
So this is the first step of the biscuit method. Okay, now we're going to cut the fat, so the margarine, with a pastry blender. So this, keep it steady,
Oh, okay.
as steady as you can. So this is a pastry blender, and this is what you use to make pastries. So I'm going to cut in the fat. So you go like this. You take the fat, you drop it in. You don't melt it, you don't do anything. Now, when did we last use this? Does anybody remember?
The apple,
Apple crisp. So what you do is you use your fork or a knife and you cut in the margarine just like this to get it off the pastry blender. And you want to keep cutting in the margarine and until it resembles small pebbles. So cut in the fat or margarine with a pastry blender until the fat is the size of small peas. So P-E-A-S. If you don't have a pastry blender at home, you can use 2 forks to break it down, or you can use knives. And you want to make sure you don't do what I just did and let flour go over the end. There we go. So this is pretty good. It slightly resembles like small little clumps or peas. And we have our 25 mils. Then what we're going to do, so the partner number 2, they're going to be doing the liquid ingredients. So one partner does this. You're going to be measuring the milk. So number 6 is measure milk in a liquid measure. So we need 80 mils. Now on this one, I can actually get to 80. It goes 50, 60, 70, 80. Now for those of you that don't have these on your liquid measure and you just have a 50 line, what could you do? 50 plus what?
30.
30. So how would we get 30?
2 small measures. 2
Hmm?
small measures.
2 small measures. Trevin, which ones would we use?
15.
We could use 2 15s or we could use a 25 and a 5. So remember, flat surface, eye level.
The big
Okay, now this is the trick. Now the second partner is going to be doing this. You need to add the milk gradually. What most students do is they just dump the milk in and then they have a clingy mess of dough and then their pizza dough doesn't roll out. So what you're going to do is you gradually add the milk. So add it in a little circle like this, just a tiny bit, maybe 15 mils. Can you see that there, Franco? And then you're going to slowly stir it with your fork. And you'll notice it starts to get into bigger clumps, just like that, just by adding a tiny bit of milk. So what I'm doing is I'm adding the dough. And by doing this, you create really nice, flaky, light dough.
What if you make a well in the middle?
No, don't. Okay, no, we don't do that. That's an excellent question. So you don't do a well in the middle. It's very different from making muffins because we may not need all these ingredients. And it'll get too wet. With biscuit or pastry dough, like when you eat croissants or eclairs or anything like that, you want the dough to be just moist. You don't want it to be too wet. So it looks like I might use all of the 80 mils of milk. You don't necessarily use it all the time. So there we go. It's starting to get wet and it's supposed to be flaky like this. It's not supposed to be like a tight ball. So the ingredients are pretty wet. I'm going to add the remainder of the milk. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is add the milk gradually. So this is step 7 to the dry ingredients, tossing it with a fork until the mixture clings together. This is the 3rd step of the biscuit method. So see how it's not a nice ball, but the dough is actually really moist. So I'm able to grab it together with my hands into a nice ball. So So don't over mix. So you mix it a couple times. Yeah, this is quite wet. And what you do is you turn it lightly around with your hands. Clings until it clings together. So add the milk gradually to the dry ingredients, tossing with a fork until the mixture clings. And then you'll see it, I'm using my hands to grab the rest of the dough. So this just gets the moisture, because the margarine is moist too, right? Okay, so the second partner does this. The second partner measures the milk, gathers everything together. Make sure you don't use this with the cheese, yeah?
Can you do like the spinning thing?
Yeah.
I can't with this kind of dough because it's biscuit dough, but next year I'll do the spinning thing with the yeast bread where you throw it in the air. And you can all call me, you can call me Luigi. Okay. Okay, so gather the ball into a dough, and then I'm going to teach you how to knead. So when you're a pizza chef, you need to learn how to knead the dough. So what we're going to do is you need to knead it on a lightly floured countertop. So this is the first mistake that most students make, myself included, is they go, oh, I need some flour. Please don't use your hands. We want to keep the flour as clean as possible. Just grab the spoon.
I thought you used like a sifter.
No, you don't need to sift this. And make sure your countertop is clean, okay? You can wipe it if you don't think it's clean enough. What you're gonna do is flour the surface. When you flour a surface, you just sprinkle some flour on it and move it around with your fingers like this. Just like at any pizza shop. Then what we're gonna do is you take the dough, you can't see, hold on. Is you take the dough, it does look dry, don't worry. And it's supposed to be all flaky. This is exactly what it's supposed to look like. Because most students think, oh, I need way more milk. You don't. You gather it together like this. It's still really moist. See, it's actually sticking to my hands, so you can get your hands covered in flour. Don't use too much. Now, when you knead with the, what is this called?
Like bottom palm.
The bottom palm of your hand. So you get an angry claw like this. And what you do, the first step is you push it down like this, okay, when you're kneading. Then what you do is you turn it like a quarter, 15 minutes, and then you fold it. So you push, and then what do I do? Turn, fold, push, and then it kind of becomes one movement. So that's 4. Uh-oh, it's getting really sticky, so I need to get the flour back. So push, turn, fold. 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's my dough. Now it's like nice, really nice dough. So you don't need to do it too much. You don't want to overdo it. Now you'll still notice there's bits of dough. You just pat them on. And then what you're going to do is we're going to be rolling out our dough. So we may need a little bit more flour because we don't want it to stick. So gather dough into a ball, knead 6 to 8 times. So this is step number 8. So knead 6 to 8 times on a lightly floured counter. So kneading, fold, push, quarter turn. I do push, quarter turn, fold. It's all the same. What it does is it develops the gluten in the flour, so it helps to make it elasticy and stick together. And it mixes all the ingredients and it gets layers of fat together in the dough. So what we're going to do is roll out the dough partially and then transfer to an ungreased cookie sheet. So I need someone to grab me a cookie sheet. Matt, can you grab me a cookie sheet? So drawer 4. So I'm going to roll it out partially. What you may need to do, you can even spoon from your leftover sifted flour. I put a little bit of flour on the rolling pin because you don't want it to stick. Now when you're rolling, I don't use the handles ever because they suck. I just use the actual. So I'm going to roll it out a little bit. And you want to press down and roll it out evenly. Now, I think after looking at my dough right now that I kneaded it too many times. I should have just kneaded it 6 times because it's quite elasticy and you don't want it to be too elasticy. So you press down. What's that? What's up?
What?
Am I doing it wrong?
What? No, of course not.
Oh, no, it's okay. No, what?
Wait, what?
So try to roll it into a circle.
Everyone watched that.
Are you mocking me now, Charmaine?
No, of course not.
Wait.
Same thing.
What?
Maybe she should go.
Just do my thing? Okay, I always hear you guys giggling, and I think you want to comment, and it's fine. Okay, so make sure it doesn't stick. Matt's going to bring the cookie sheet over. So roll it into like a round dough. See, this is if it's like a yeast bread, you'd make your fists, and but we don't do that. We're bored.
Why not? Why not? Why can't you do it?
Please don't put your cookie sheet down in the mess, because it's a different type of dough.
Like what happened?
I always put a little bit of flour, but shh, don't tell anyone.
Kinda going on YouTube.
Now when you guys laugh, I just think you're laughing at me.
What's it for though?
Huh?
What is it for? Like actually.
Well, the other teachers will be like, why are you doing this?
What is it for? The one that you flip it for?
That's like a yeast bread dough.
No, yeah. Why do you do it?
Why? Because you want to develop the gluten and make it nice and elasticy.
And you can do it with the rolling.
You could. Now what I do is I'm going to make a little crust here. So I just flip my fingers together like this, folding a nice little crust because I don't want to forget about the crust.
Can you put something inside the crust?
So just push it together.
Pizza Hut.
If you want, you can put a little bit of cheese in the crust. You guys can bring your own ingredients too. We'll talk about the pizza competition after. So just kind of pinch the dough together. This is a small pizza, but it's for two of you, so you split it in half. The thinner you roll the dough, the bigger the pizza you get. Now, what I'm going to do, so that while the partner 2 is adding the milk and preparing the dough, the other partner is now going to be preparing the sauce and all your other ingredients. Okay, so what you're going to do, partner 1 sifts all the dry ingredients while partner 2 gets the milk and everything ready. Then partner 2 adds the milk, stirs it all together, prepares the dough, and then the other partner, partner 1, now prepares the sauce and any other ingredients you bring for your pizza. So I need my 50 mils of tomato sauce. So to measure 50 mils, I'm going to do 2 25 mil measures. So what you would do is take a custard cup or a small bowl. And add a little bit more sauce.
Number 10.
Number 10 is finish rolling the dough on the cookie sheet, but I didn't. I just did it on the countertop. But you can do either one. It's easy. It's hard to transfer the dough from the counter to the cookie sheet. So there's my sauce. So partner 2 is also doing, in a custard cup, mix together the pizza spice and the tomato sauce. So pizza spice, in case you're wondering, stuck here, is rosemary, basil, and oregano mixed together. And I used to have a container of pizza spice, which I do not have. We may need to pause the video.
No.
Hmm?
No.
Yeah.